Alright everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be learning how to replace the foam mat found on the bottom of many of your houses in your display. So let's get into it. Okay, so the foam base. There's a few different ways to do this and, different tools you can use, but we'll start out with what I'm working with here today. I want to preference this by saying that normally when I do this, I use automatic scissors. I'm sure an X-Acto knife works really well. Stuff that's you can kind of get more in one stroke rather than, clip, 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 because it does affect the way that it comes out. Now, if you flip over any of your Lemax houses today, you'll see that they never ever line up perfectly anyway. It's more just covering majority rather than a perfect cut. I've never done it with hand scissors before, so at the time of filming this video, I was learning too. But normally, if you use something more like an automatic pair of scissors or an X-Acto knife, it's a lot easier to get a smoother cut and even to go back in and shave it, because even once we get it in place, they tend to be slightly big, so you want to shave it down so it looks pretty good. But you'll see by the end of this video that the hand scissors just don't work quite as well, but the concept is the same, and it works great no matter what you got. I figured these were just more things you might have laying around the house. So let's start with the tools. There's a few things here that you're going to need. Starting, of course, with the foam mat itself. This was purchased from our local craft store, which is Michael's in our area. It came in a really giant roll. It was just literally a thin foam black rolled up mat that you can cut to use as you wish. It was in the, I think in the scrapbooking, that's what it was. I apologize. It was in the scrapbooking section. I don't know why, but it was. So I think it was about $8. We had a small coupon, knocked it down to like $6-ish, something like that. But the roll is huge. You can do quite a few houses. I don't have the dimensions on hand as I tore off the tag when I was working on other houses prior to filming this video. But anyway, it'll last you forever. So the plastic you see on it now is just saran wrap. I saran wrap it after every use to help it from getting dirty, as I do repair houses for other people. And of course, when I send something out, I want it to look the best that it can. So why would you need to replace your mat? Many reasons. The most common one is that it just gets torn, or when you're putting it in and out, it takes a lot of abuse, right? It's the only thing between the house and the surface that it's sitting on. It's a really good protection from that angle. Truth be told, though, a little secret for you, the real reason, even aside from that, is a lot of times under these mats are critical wires that weren't ran inside the house. They were ran on the bottom. And so like anytime you see, in this case of the house we're going to look at here, like LEDs kind of around the edge, those wires are actually ran underneath. So of course you can't just have those hanging out. So again, that's where the black mat comes in. The reason that it was pulled off on this house was because this was a repair. And after scraping off all the original mat, which I tell you is not the easiest thing on the planet, some houses are easier than others, but heat is your friend when you're doing that. But again, you got to be careful because there's wires under there, and you never know until you've been there, which wire is where, etc. So always try to look for the lights first. So anyway, moving on. It looks obviously not all that amazing without the mat, so it's also a cosmetic thing. So where we're going to start again with the tools. We talked about the foam. So the next thing that you're going to need is some kind of adhesive. I've used everything from hot glue to crazy glue to just experimenting with different glues. The spray adhesive is probably the most natural for this job, or at least that's kind of how it feels to me. I think it was about $6.99. I think again I had a coupon, knocked it down to like, I don't know, $4 something or $5 something. It wasn't bad. Of course, you're going to need something to trace it on. So there's obviously a few different things you see here, different Sharpies. It doesn't really matter about the color. For some reason, even the black shows up just fine. There's also a pencil there. I don't know the proper name for that kind of pencil, but it was something that I had laying around. The Sharpie is probably the way to go, though, the pinpoint Sharpie, or fine point Sharpie, rather. And of course, some kind of scissors. Okay, So as you can see, I've already lined up the house, trying to get it as close to the edges as possible to help save material. Of course, it won't be perfect because it's not a perfect square, but you can get it close enough. Next, I'm going to take a Sharpie, and at a slight angle, I'm going to try to go all the way around, kind of inverting the pin towards the base, trying to get it as close as possible so that first cut is a pretty close to the actual shape that it's going to be. It's really a rough cut, but the closer you can nail it on that first try will save you a little bit more time on the back end. Because after this, you do the rough cut, then we're going to just kind of give it a quick little test and see what it needs. You're gonna have to do some trimming at that point. And then ultimately, once it's on, you can still go back and just do some fine trimming. This process gets easier and faster with every house you do. Like I said, I've never done it with this kind of scissor before. And I can tell you after the fact, like I said earlier, that automatic hand scissors seem to be the best for this. It's a way smoother cut and gets a little bit more into the groove. Now let me go ahead and give it a quick rough cut, and I'll be back with you. Okay, so here's our rough cut. As you can see, it's not quite as detailed as it should be yet, but we're gonna go ahead and work on that. But first, we need to know what areas to work on. So I'm gonna kind of hold it up against the house here and just kind of take a quick once over on it to see where I need to trim it down. Because again, the more trimming we can do ahead of time, the easier it is at the end when it's actually attached to the house. So I went ahead and trimmed it down a little bit more, and then I sprayed on the adhesive, and I didn't capture that as I had to use both hands and I couldn't hold the camera at the same time. But anyway, I sprayed the adhesive on, let it sit for about a minute before I attached it, and just kind of put it roughly into place so I thought it looked appropriate. Already you can see it looks brand new again, but I'll probably do a little bit more fine trimming here, but I just wanted to give you an example of the process and what it looks like. It's not perfect, right? None of them are. Even the ones you get from the Mac seem to be a little short sometimes, but it's no big deal. With each house, this process gets better and cleaner and so on, and eventually they're perfect. Like I said, my only recommendation is using an X-Acto knife, or even more preferably some automated scissors. That's when I notice I get like perfect coverage. It could just be my lack of scissor, skill. I'm sure that definitely plays a big part in it. But anyway, overall, guys, this is the process. It's not hard at all. It's almost, if anything, harder to take it off than it is to replace it. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoy the how-tos. I'm always looking for new ideas, so feel free to leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll see you on the next one.